Proceeds will benefit the MOBA trainer designers and the LPL English unofficial broadcast. So start leveling up your game today with the help of MOBA Trainer. And a big thanks to them as we get back in to game number 2 between Weibo and Top Esports. Weibo again, they won the 1v1 and then lost game 1. That means they get 2 straight games of blue side. Hooray!
Congratulations, Weibo. Let's see if
we're
that
gonna
ends
gamba
up.
on the top corner.
Are we gambering? Gamba.
Yes!
Finish the
We
bundle.
get
We
4
gain
keys.
4 keys. Let's go.
And that
I'm
means
so
next time we
excited
get to
use
choose a new
those
training
keys.
path. So
Yeah.
that's very important, obviously.
Sion B1 locked in for Weibo. They've said Yorick, fake news, tanks. They're the real source.
We've seen these Scions be very, very powerful. Almost unkillable. Kind of in split 2. Almost in that like second tier of top laners at this point. You know, when the Gwens aren't available, when the Yoricks aren't available, the Rumbles. This is where people now have decided to turn to a little bit more often than not. It's going to be responded
I actually just love taking Sion to begin with, to be honest. Like, you have to ban out the Gwen so you can take the Sion for largely free, but I mean, Sion is just so tanky. Is sort of risen in that priority as becoming the premier tank. Cassante locked in as a somewhat answer to this is fine for 369, and I mean, he's got plenty of games on this to know how to be going about it. But already, I mean, this is 2024 coded for our draft from Top Esports to begin with the Azir locked in, the Cassante as well. Yeah. We are definitely looking at some good tank shred already.
Well, if you like 2024, let's look at some 2023 from Weibo here as they lock the Lucian Nami for Light and Erha. Again, with the Spirit Blossom patch, expanding the laning phase just a little bit longer before that first spawn of grubs, it is allowed for certain picks like this Lucian to really rise up in priority. So that is going to be the selection here for Weibo, as they're going to try to break open JackeyLove and Crisp here in this 2v2.
And we'll see what their response is going to be. I mean, taking the Nautilus here indicates that it's going to be very highly engage focused. I mean, Kai'Sa is now, you have to feel a must ban for Weibo, right? You want to take that out of JackeyLove's hands regardless, and then you also want to not give them that bot lane pairing. Just to, the power of a one shot that comes from Kai'Sa Nautilus, definitely quite high. We'll see what it is that Weibo take away though. Expectations are that they pinch out that AD carry pool for top. They're going to try and get rid of some bad mid laners. Yone's still open. If they want to get rid of that, maybe the Akali as well, but instead, just not bothered. Say, okay, we'll get rid of junglers instead.
Yeah, we'll see what exactly Xiaohu does have at his disposal. You know, part of me thinks that maybe Top Esports is thinking, man, Xiaohu, this guy did not play good in the last game, so we can let him pick whatever mid laner he wants, and we can just try to target Tian instead, who might have some other champions that can provide some extra disruption to what Top Esports does want to accomplish here. The Draven banned away from JackeyLove. Game number 3 between these two teams the last time around was basically a JackeyLove Draven diff, as being the difference between Top Esports winning and losing that game. So not surprised to see that one banned away in a potential clinching situation for TES.
Yeah, so they're looking here, I think, at taking Xin Zhao, you'd like to think, just to have Kanavi on something that can be working nice and early, can punish whatever mid laner it is that Weibo look to end up locking in. They've already taken away the Silas. Still worried about something like Akali, like Yone being locked in for Xiaohu if he wants to take something that's a little bit more melee geared for him and that can maybe dice it around with this Azir as well. Weibo, though, do they want to get rid of that Kai'Sa? Do they want to get rid of a different AD carry that's also going to run 3? They opt to take out that Xin Zhao, so it's not going to give Kanavi the premier pick from the jungle. But I think that with them being able to take their jungler, choice of junglers here, so that, again, Weibo are denied another pick, that might be what I'd have expected to see. They don't need to take AD carry unless they've got something planned that they need to see the full composition of Weibo for.
Waiting to see if we're just going to match alongside that traditional Kai'Sa Nautilus bot lane here. JackeyLove obviously has his fair share of Kai'Sa games, as that's his world skin. So you know, we're going to maybe see that one get locked in for him, and just leaving that last pick for Kanavi, who has been one of Top's most consistent players. Yeah,
and now with Kanavi going to have full information on what he's playing up against. The pick from the jungle certainly going to be quite entertaining. I think that they could have probably denied whatever pick it is that Weibo looks to go for here, and this may well end up being one of those sort of trade situations where Kanavi doesn't want to pick his champion because he knows what he's going to play based on what Tian takes. So if he takes Sejuani, for example, he knows he's going to take Lilia as an answer. If he takes Jov and he knows he's going to take Nocturne or something like that, right? Like they've got these different answers and different plans in place. And they knew that they might want to take Kai'Sa anyway, so with JackeyLove picking that up, it opens up now for Kanavi to be a little bit more flexible in his pick in that jungle role. And this is a bit of an old school answer as well, if we get to see this locked in. This is not just great versus the Sejuani. Wait for it to get locked in before we get fully into the weeds of the power that a Trundle can have.
There we go.
But yeah, I mean, this is not just good for Sejuani, right? You subjugate the Sejuani when she got her passive on, and then she goes into negative armor and MR once her passive wears off. But also throwing the pillar in front of a Sion can stop his unstoppable onslaught from hitting you, make him hit that wall instead of any of your carries. There are a lot of uses here that this Trundle is going to have. You can also reposition Yone ulti if you time it perfectly. So that there are lots of different things that this Trundle can do, and the power of this pillar this game can be quite high.
Yeah, you know, we've seen this Trundle pop up as that counter matchup into certain junglers like the Xin Zhao or the Sejuani. Most notably, Monkey over on Team WE has played it. I think Kanavi's whipped it out a couple of times here in this season so far. But now we'll see if it does result in a win here for the side of Top Esports. A bit of a more unorthodox comp for them. Meanwhile, some very standard like pairings that Weibo do have at their disposal. They have the Lucian Nami, they have the Yone Sejuani. This is going to be like just a pure scrap composition here for Weibo. They want to make sure they're getting out on the map, getting as many kills as possible towards that mid game.
Yeah, it is the first game of Trundle for Kanavi so far. They
right.
split at the very least, so not had the power of the Trundle in his hands so far, but I mean, I'm very much expecting that he's had it in the wheelhouse for a pretty long time. Trundle himself, not the most difficult champion to play, right? You walk up, you bonk people, and sometimes you chomp them instead. So expectations are that it's all about how that pillar is used if you're subjugating the Sejuani at the right time. And I will also say it's going to be very useful for them when trying to take down that Sion as well. If the Sedge ends up building into more of this supportive style or not quite having as much agency as maybe they'd have anticipated, subjugating a Sion definitely going to give you some good resists as well, because you steal them, you become tanky as the Trundle. So if you steal half of Sion's resistances, hey, you know, you're again feeling very happy with that.
敌军还有30秒到达战场。听
到尖叫。
Well, they did it before a minute this time.
I know, they were a little quicker. I think they heard us like flaming them. Like, hey guys,
They
pick it
woke up.
Ready for game number 2 of Top Esports versus Weibo Gaming. Again, scrappy compositions have kind of been unlocked by both sides. I feel like in general, we're going to see a little bit more early aggression across the board. And as you say that, a level 1 has been initiated by the Top Esports bot lane. Chris kind of scout out exactly where Tian wants to start his clear. And with Xiaohu kind of hovering around here, I think they know that Tian probably not around here at the moment.
Oh, okay. Get the sweep on the ward. And they're going to look to try and, it looks like, steal away this bot side. Very late invade. And I mean, this bot lane as well, if they do end up cross-mapping, or split-mapping, I should say, really favors Top Esports. We look at this top lane matchup, 369 versus Breathe is 2 tanks wailing away on one another, whereas having your jungler on the bot side for Kai'Sa Nautilus versus Lucian Nami is so much more powerful for you. And I think that Top Esports just initiating this split map is already going to put a big dent in the ideals of a Lucian Nami lane.
Especially, just like, yeah, into this first iteration of the clear, as we actually see Kanavi running straight from red buff to red buff to try to catch out Tian here. Again, as the Trundle, you win basically any single duel that you play against any champion. So if he gets caught out, it could be a bit dangerous for him. But it looks like instead Tian is going to be able to finish off this red buff as Kanavi. Just going to want to make sure he does not lose the entirety of his topside quadrant.
Yeah, I'm curious as to whether or not he's going to end up walking to those Krugs to steal those away. Instead, just walks up, takes his Raptors, and then immediately bails, goes back down to his bot side. And overall, it looks like they're going to end up with a matched clear. So both of them are going to end up with 6 camps apiece. But again, this is tricky, but possible. If Sion dies and the big wave goes down, they'd be happy to take the 1-for-1.
369 taking a lot of damage. That's many times did not find the knockup, but at least chunks out some DPS. As Tian holding the wave and now going for the fight. He hits level 3, but the damage might just be too much. The shield is big though. It forces Tian to flash, and he will go down in a 1-for-1 trade. but you will take that if you're Weibo Gaming. That's first blood going over to them.
Yeah, and a lot of minions going to be lost under this turret. Yes, there's a TP to come in, but that's about half a wave that gets lost to that turret. 4-3-6-9, and you're looking at that as Breathe very happy. Tian even gets the kill, now an engage bot side.
Oh, JackeyLove gets hit by the Aqua Prison, and now is taken very low, but Light's below 100 HP as well. The pots are ticking, and that means that Light and Airhawk will be okay. But another nice engage started up by Crisp's Dredgeline.
Okay, so looking at that bot side once again, Tian bails straight down to that bot side. He's down a level on Kanavi.
Now the junglers have found each other out. Kanavi with that slight level advantage, as you mentioned. All bot lane members still have their flashes available, so that is very important in terms of how these fights and how these skirmishes could potentially continue to play out.
But let's take a look quickly at those junglers. Yes, Tian got that first kill, but he's so far behind in experience versus Kanavi, almost a full level down. And Kanavi here, he's got pushing top side, might be able to get in that mid lane as well. He's going to be able to move down there. And that hook through the minions here from Crisp. I mean, in their series versus JDG, it was a Nautilus Crisp performance that had JDG reeling really in that series. So Kanavi now, he moves up to this top side. He's got push in mid lane, going to be able to establish pushing that top side as well. So he can just try and take some jungle camps away. And I think that Tian, whilst he will win out on the short order trades using the Aftershock and the Cross Tower passive, the second that those two wear off, that's when your Trundle starts to come alive. He's got to press the attack. He's going to be able to steal some of your attack damage as well. So he'll be able to come alive in these longer skirmishes if they can happen.
Yeah, the counter jungling, it did not just end at that first engage or that first invade that Top Esports went for level 1. Kanavi's been able to yoink a camp here, steal another camp there. The Gromp takeaway that has expanded that lead a little bit for the Trundle, and that means that this champion is going to be very strong, not just in terms of the utility it can provide, but actually as a very solid duelist, especially once it hits level 6.
Yeah, I will say that dueling in particular, anybody other than the Sejuani and the Sion is going to be pretty tricky. Normally Trundle has really good value versus these immobile champions, right? Like any champion that creates terrain is really valuable versus immobile champions. But Lucian, Yone, they've both got dashes to get out of Trundle pillar that is well positioned. So might not be the most optimal Trundle game to try and get really good engages and really good duels down, but you can see the value that it's going to have versus the likes of a Sedge, the Sion, and maybe even the Nami as well.
Tian looking for a play on a Jackie and Chris. See if he really can find anything. I mean, he knows that he just can't use the Arctic Assault because it means he can immediately get engaged on by that Nautilus, and Chris would be able to do enough damage to probably take him down. But the Dragon has been started up here by Kanavi. Weibo do know about it, but they're losing push in both mid and bot lane.
Yeah, okay, engaged again.
Trying to fight their way through. And they've already had the Ignite on top of Light. They peel away from the Dragon now, are top.
Jackie
and that means that Kanavi is here to try to join this fight in a 3v3. Going to chop up Tian, slow him down. Already the health bars are low on Weibo's side, but they're getting chucked really back down on the other side of things as well. As JackeyLove's down at 300. Light actually has the XP advantage now in this situation. The Evan Flow comes through, but he gets eaten by a hook. He'll be able to take down JackeyLove, and the Aqua Prison will allow for Weibo to win the fight down bot.
And the wave's going to be lost under that turret as well. A massive turn of events, and it's Light stepping up for Weibo once again. This early game going very favourably for them, and it's the bot lane of Top Esports just creeping in and having these shades of inconsistency, which we've seen from them a couple of times in this split. Yes, Jackie's moving into being one of our top LPL AD carries when we look at these team fights, but the laning consistently proves to be a factor.
I'm not gonna lie there, Rude. I thought Top Esports had that one in the bag in terms of how they were able to, play that initial start to the to that fight. But then Light's aggression just coming in clutch, knowing just enough damage to take down JackeyLove, and that results in them really coming out on top.
Yeah, he's able to weave in a second spell after that piercing light. It's a really solid set of animations from the Lucian to give him that advantage. And now he comes back out of that bot lane into that bot lane with the components of the Essence Reaver, a lot of flat AD, so a quick poke of a piercing light through a minion is going to do some big damage, as well as Creme forcing Xiaohu out of the lane there. If that damage should have stuck, might have possibly been able to flash forward, find a kill.
But instead, just going to be that wave pushing in here now for Creme. And Xiaohu's actually going to kind of stay around here a little bit. Making a lot of DPS, but he knows that Creme does not have much mana left, so he's going to be able little bit greedy here. Maybe trying to bait it out for Tian to get here. He has to hit level 6, and that Arctic Prison could come through. Fate Sealed is flashed away from, and now Creme will be A-okay, and the re-engage can't come through. Chris with the Dredge Line comes in. Kanavi going to force Tian to use the Arctic Assault away.
And now looking at these current side lane assignments, this is much, much worse for JackeyLove and for 369 as well. Breathe even just sacrificing, he goes back into this mid lane, and he's going to be able to farm up versus Creme quite nicely. This is actually really smart from Weibo, just moving their Scion in to catch the wave that would have otherwise been lost. And by this time, you'd expect that Xiaohu can make it down to that bot side. JackeyLove, quite weak, didn't actually know that he could walk up here because he didn't see the Scion for a little bit of time, and when that Scion shows mid lane, he knows he can start pushing that wave. But even still, currently Weibo, once again, off to a very good start. I need to see them continue with this, though. They've got a very powerful AD carry now in Light, but Kanavi fancies 2v2.
On, though, by 369. All out comes through. Light's going to be in melee range of the Cassante, which is never a good sign. He dashes with the pillar, though, and allows for Tian to come in and save the play. Going for another stun on a 369. He's going to have to dash away and will survive, but it's already a kill. Going towards Weibo on the top side, and they're looking for something down bottom, too, as JackeyLove and Chris are unable to complete the dive on a Xiaohu.
They slow play this, and now there's a massive Scion coming in to clean up Weibo. They're not stopping.
A flash. Oh, the combo is just pure from Breathe. And JackeyLove goes down for the second time. They're looking for the redive on a 369. Weibo Gaming are up 6-1.
Tian is popping off in game number 2. He saw his performance from game 1 and said it was not good enough. Moving into this second matchup takes Sejuani, the facilitating role, and he is doing exactly that, playing around his Lucian army, giving them that advantage. And despite the fact that Kanavi, yes, was able to find a couple of camps taken away, he's absolutely putting him in the dirt.
We said, Roodood, that this is the composition here for Weibo that needs to scrap early. They need to find these advantages. I think a 3,000 goldie at the 10-minute mark is advantage enough for how they wanted this to go. Mission success. If you are Tian, if you are Weibo Gaming, and they could be looking at forcing another Game 3 against top esports.
Yeah, absolutely here. This has been again, very solid start for Weibo, but we have to remember that we've seen this before. Weibo, I think if they win inside 30-35 minutes, they'll be good, but if they can't close out this game, it becomes much more difficult for them. That's when their composition doesn't have the scaling. That's when top esports really will start to come alive. So as long as they can keep this momentum up, it's good. But they need to start taking these objectives. We've got Dragon spawning in 1 minute 50. I'd love to see them try to play and contest for that. Herald spawning in 4 minutes. They now need to put their foot down and say we're far enough ahead to take every fight that we want.
I feel like they are at this point, especially if Light is there. 2-0-2, already has that Essence Reaper completed. Xiaohu going for a 1v1 into Creme. Still losing out on that one a little bit, but you're going to be okay, all things considered, if you are Weibo, knowing that you have that one discrepancy because of the fact that the rest of your team is so far ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the Xiaohu setup game is, again, probably going to be him looking to find ultis, and I think that the good thing is that this time he'll have a bit of an opportunity to take kills as well, and he can sort of advocate for him getting farm as well. Yone versus Sejuani, I think I know who I'm looking for to find those bits of gold, but they're walking in and taking a lot of plates on this mid lane turret, and I think that for top esports, right, this goes both ways, that actually if Creme sort of moves in here and steps up in this game in particular, this could be one of those redeeming features of top esports, where the rest of the map actually hasn't done too well, but Creme needs to start stepping into this role as being on the best team in the LPL currently, that he as a mid laner can single-handedly carry games as well.
And he has a champion to do it, right? Azir is such a game-warping champion in terms of what you're able to do in the 5v5 if you're able to execute successfully. And we've seen Creme have some pretty good games on this Azir in the past, so hopeful, if you are top esports, that you can play around your young, your newer mid laner in this situation. It's already starting off pretty well. There's the Emperor's Divide, and as we say it, Creme picks up a big shutdown over Tian.
Crisp is playing that fight beautifully, by the way. Finds the hook and immediately walks to block the Arctic Assault over the wall. Creme as well, using the shuffle to keep the Sejuani on side so they know that they can claim that shutdown. And to add, you know, the icing on top of the cake, it's the shutdown being picked up by Creme, by this Azir. The one person so far who's done very well this game and hasn't allowed for any sort of struggles in their laning phase. This now bleeds into the Dragon going down, and where Weibo should be looking to contest this because they're 2k gold to the good, with their jungler just dying, they're not able to.
So 2 in a row for top esports again. It's Weibo that have the gold advantage. Weibo that have been able to find these skirmishes, but just that one play that was set up by Creme. Kanavi helping out a little bit too, but really allowing for top esports to get back into this one a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, this is currently very reminiscent of that first game. We've got Weibo with a decent advantage. I don't want to say that they've already thrown it. They are still quite far ahead, and they do still look to play around this Lucian Nami seemingly pretty well. You know, looking at that AD carry disparity, JackeyLove 0-2 with Light 2-0-2 as well. I think that game number 1 Light was trying to be the most redeeming feature of that Weibo roster. But if Tian can continue with this onslaught that he's had in this game, and that was just a little bit of an oopsie, we may expect to see pretty good things from Weibo for the rest. Again, a reminder that they need to put their foot down. This Herald spawning in 50 seconds is where they need to fight and continue getting their advantages.
Well, it looks like Tian right back to the seat of the crime, this time stealing away a red buff. And agreed that Weibo still in a very comfortable spot. You can see that Tian feels the same way as he's still going for an invade. But now we get the top laner skirmishing just a little bit. 369 does do a lot of damage when he's in that all-out form, but definitely takes a little bit more as well. It looks like, you know, the tanks are just going to continue to do their thing down there as we can turn our sights to more important matters, which is here in the mid lane, where that tier 1 is getting tried to take down by Weibo.
Yeah, I mean, they might be able to take this with the grubs, to be fair. There goes the ulti.
Immediately onto Kanavi, the culling doing a lot of damage as well, but Kanavi's able to pop the ulti in time, and now it is Xiaohu getting singled out and taken down by Creme underneath the tier 1 turret. Another one over to the Azir.
So the question is now, can Weibo take this tier 1 in the mid lane? Because Weibo committed a lot of resources into this mid lane, didn't find anything for it. They need to get some sort of payoff because they lost their top side. They lost out on Xiaohu here, and that has just been interrupted. Creme.
Tian, make sure that dash does not allow Creme to go over the wall. Now, not a lot of cooldowns available, so going to have to try to fight this out 1v1. He takes a tower shot, and that is going to seal his fate. Tian getting his revenge on the last time around, as now on the bot side, it will be Breathe falling as Kanavi and 369 will escape by the slimmest of margins.
Quite clean on the side lanes here from top esports. A really good response from Tian, though, as he does take down the Azir, stops Creme from snowballing even further. But 369, I was questioning him earlier. Why has he just gone for a random ulti there? Turns out the ulti for ulti trade ends up benefiting as they can take down Breathe. He doesn't have that unstoppable onslaught to just walk away. So a couple of good plays across the map. It's Weibo finding a lot of purchase in their jungle and their bot lane, but losing out on those side lanes. So the splitting of the map, the reallocation of resources, and putting gold firmly into Creme's hands for top esports. And how well can he benefit on that? How well can he leverage that? Whereas Weibo, they've put a lot of gold onto Light and a lot onto Tian.
Here's that play onto Breathe, already forcing the flash. This is after they traded their ultis, and once that pillar comes down, very difficult for the Sion to get out of things.
And now we get to see, obviously, that this is going to be a pretty tricky spot for top, I would say, for the rest of this. As Weibo, they seem to have their eyes on the prize, right? Like, they're looking quite significantly at keeping Light ahead of the curve. He's 2 items, he's got those flicker blades in as well, and he's definitely, you know, quite advantaged over JackeyLove. It's about using Light to push ahead and to steamroll this game.
And this is where the power of that Lucian Nami really comes through too. You know, not only are you ahead with those 2 items, but this is probably the strongest that Lucian and Nami are in this game, where you can control the mid waves, continuously push up, and just ult 100-0 anybody that tries to step in your way. But in the side lanes, it looks like things are also kind of opening up for Weibo. Ulti comes through from Xiaohu. It does not find a target. That means that it will be just that cooldown utilized with about a minute until that next dragon spawns.
Blasco suspension here as VHC aggresses or goes over that wall. So okay, they're quite happy to just sit back and relax. It is that 40-second time on the Drake that you've highlighted that was supposed to be the start of the fight, but Tian just goes in anyway.
Well, that's a very aggressive tidal wave. I don't know if that's necessarily or necessary, I should say, as Rift Herald has been spawned on the bottom side. Breeze doing his best weak side duties. up on the top lane as he knows the rest of his team's able to get a lot of value here. The Glacial Prison just locking down Christmas. Now Light is looking for the kill onto Kanavi. The culling comes out. He's taking all the bullets into the back of the troll, but he's not able to take him down all the way to full. Instead, their target turns towards the tier 1. A nice 0 ulti from Creme, but he is going to get shut down as Tian picked up his 5th kill of the game, and Christmas the next target. A big win for Weibo Gaming on the bot side.
2 for 0 down bot lane, and it's more gold into Light, it's more gold into Tian, this 2-man band of Weibo that have moved through game number 2 with ease, really. Taking that tier 1 turret down. They do lose out on a turret in that mid lane, but they're going to benefit a dragon as well. Halfway through that tier 2 turret also. And they're taking down Creme, that one person on top esports who we'd highlighted might be able to come alive in this fight. And in this game, they're constantly putting him down. He was 2-0, now 2-2, and he's struggling his way through.
And now Weibo is able to pick up the dragon, deny that soul scaling, or that soul win condition for top esports. We get another look at this one. Nice prioritization for Weibo. They know if they just take down the tower, it becomes much easier to win this fight after.
Yeah, and Creme just has no way out of this, right? Like, he uses a shuffle, and I guess the theory is that he can start trying to glide his way out on the top side of that fight, but Light's right there. Air's right there to just sort of keep him in check, so there's not much point trying to escape, put as much damage down as you can, and maybe you can get away with it. However, unfortunately not the case. A little bit of shadowing now from Chris, from Kanavi, as they do try to get a little bit of gold back onto that Azir, and tier 1 turret will be claimed.
So top esports continually understanding the win condition, understanding the assignment. They know that Creme is the furthest, the strongest champion that they have at their disposal, so putting a lot of resources into him, making sure he gets to that 2-item mark as fast as possible. You know, the rest of the team becomes second priority at this point. This is the Creme show if top esports want to come away with a sweep. You know, on the other side for Weibo, Tian really well in this Sejuani. Remember, this is his former team. He spent 3 years on top esports until they replaced him for Kanavi, who was also a staple of a different organization before coming in, as both sides thought they needed bit of a change in scenery in order to make their team better. Tian wanting to prove him wrong here as they start off this Otacon.
They have the lead, right? We talked about them should be taking all of the neutral objectives that they want, so this is the time to do it. Chris leading the charge. There's a TP from behind.
The top esports want to fight even though they know the Otacon's going to go over. It's a teleport in from the Cassante, but all 5 members of Weibo are grouped up as 5. Breathe taking a lot of damage, but he's a tanky side. He can afford the DPS to be utilized against him. Here comes the Fate Sealed. It knocks up 2, but a nice Emperor's Divide is going to keep Creme safe. First casualty is in onto Chris, and now JackeyLove can pop off. They find the shutdown onto the Sejuani, and top esports can look for the fight. The pillar buying so much space as top esports now playing around that brush control. Xiaohu trying to dish a little bit more damage out. There comes that dinner bell. Breathe looking to try to knock down Creme.
Look at Jackie!
JackeyLove pops the hell off, diving straight into the back line and picking up the ace for TES.
And once again, Grapes, top esports come alive in a 5v5. Weibo, they came in with every single advantage. They even took the Otacon before this. But top esports do not lose team fights when they're synced up. Their composition was built to 5 versus 5. Weibo were built to snowball, and they'd not done enough. Jackie and Creme play this fight gorgeously. Kanavi and 369, they're playing it exceptionally as well. And all 4 members that stayed up were able to take down not just Weibo, but some turrets after the fact as well. This TP in, I was thinking Weibo, they're in a much better position. And as soon as they saw where the Cassante was, I was expecting them to go forward, find this 5v4 on the front lines, but they're too hesitant. They don't go in when they do. They can make 369 walk around the houses to get a part of this fight. But Creme's buffer on the ulti puts Xiaohu out of this fight. Tian as well just takes a little too much damage, and Light's never able to get access to that backline. This Lucian, who you'd love to try and find it, discovers that actually his range is too small. Creme's poking him out. JackeyLove's able to dish out the damage, and it's Creme who's just wailing away in that brush. JackeyLove dives in to find the kills, and overall, it's again just top esports putting on a teamfight masterclass.
And Weibo had the right idea. They knew that if they played around vision, if they played in those bushes, nobody from top esports, even with their advanced range, could hit on them. But nicely done by top. They put control wards in the bush. JackeyLove just decides, I'm going to flash into the bush anyway, just make sure I have that full vision. Immediately takes down Light, who dies for the first time this game. And now JackeyLove is actually ahead of the curve, you know, compared to Light. Has picked up that 3rd item in the Nashor suit, so has all 3 of those upgrades available on his spells. Things are looking very good now from Top Esports. Much better than they were just a couple of minutes ago. And they are feeling themselves right now. They're looking for yet another fight as the teleport comes in for Creme. Oh, he jumps straight into the knockup though. And that could be disastrous as Light will take him down with a culling. Breathe, gonna be the one to finish off here in a trade as 369 is looking for the rest of Weibo's bot lane. It will be just that 1-for-1, but Creme drastically over-indexes himself.
And I mean, okay, so they get 1-for-1. They lose, or they get double summoners as well on Erha. But they lose Creme. This was a pretty big blunder and really honestly well played from Breathe as he's able to find that initial channel on the Decimating Smash and pick up what is ultimately a really big shutdown for them. Looking now at this dragon just spawned up. Weibo, they're going to be first to the play. Creme with no TP. And the rest of Top Esports nowhere to be found. Quick little pick up for them. That's 2 Infernal Dragons now.
So Weibo, they're not going to go quietly here, Root. Even though they got aced around that Otacon, they still were able to pick up the buff themselves, and now are in a position where they can really start to snowball these dragons. They still have a 3-item Lucian. Taking a look at how this one did unfold. Nice catch here as nobody saw Breed go into this bush, and so he had no idea.
No, and yeah, he gets knocked up, gets bubbled. And lightweight snow time, immediate culling to the face. I like this from Breathe though, he just walks up, accepts his own demise. There's a world where if he doesn't do that, JackeyLove's dead!
We're gonna have to go back and see how that just happened, because that is a big 2 kills set up here by Weibo Gaming. Light picking up a double kill, they could potentially look for more. 369 is now stunned up, but here comes Kanavi. Creme now on the retreat as well, the culling buying so much space, it forces 369 to half. And also has to utilize that flash. So Weibo, they get the bot lane here. And so let's take a look at how this opened up. I think it was just Tian with a really nice glacial prison.
And this unfortunately has become quintessential JackeyLove in split number 2, where he's just caught on a mid-wave where he doesn't have the support that he needs to step up and farm like that, nor the vision. Now Weibo, they transition this not just into 2 kills, but an attempt at a Baron.
Gonna have to be Creme and Kanavi. Can Kanavi get into the pit? He's just the trundle. He does not have the flash. The Baron will be long to Weibo Gaming. And now they're fighting in a 5v3. Arctic Assault lands onto Creme. He is able to dash on out with the shifting sands. And he will not go down as Crisp and JackeyLove have arrived. But Weibo got what they wanted. They got themselves the Baron. And now they are right back into control of this game too.
Wow, and especially with Creme getting hit by a bubble there. I mean, Erha, a really solid performance on this Nami, being a little over-aggressive with some of the tidal waves, but landing a bubble there to stop any of the poke coming through. The fact that they didn't turn onto the Azir, I'm honestly more surprised by than anything else. Even still though, Weibo come away with that Baron, and all of a sudden, that metronome swings back in the favor of Weibo as they can look to maybe use this gold to break open those tier 2s in the side lanes. You've got Xiaohu, 2 items on the Yone. We've got this Sion as well in that side lane. 2 items, quite hard to move with a Baron. And they should be looking to take down those structures, get more gold in their pocket.
And Top Esports are looking for some sort of response, but look at Tian once again coming up clutch, finding the ultimate onto Creme, forcing the Azir to flash away, but they're still underneath the tier 2 tower, and 369 has found a flank. They go all out, but another really nice bubble coming through Mera is going to slow down the assault, and there comes that choo-choo train. Breathe underneath the tower is able to find a couple of kills. The tier 2 goes down, and now it's a 3v3 across the map. JackeyLove still alive and at full HP, as Crisp is able to find himself a couple on the back end of things here. Light is still strong. They still have the Baron buff in their hands. They're trying to siege onto this tier 3, break open the base of Top Esports, and Weibo are going to be able to accomplish just that.
Unfortunately, there's just more damage potential from Weibo at this stage. Kanavi can't get in without Subjugate. The hook from the Nautilus is a one-way trip if it's not onto the right target, and the inhibitor falls. I mean, I need to see a replay of this because I'm pretty sure Creme tossed his life for the cause, and that is a massive blunder if that's the case. As Top Esports lose out on their inhibitor on the top side, Weibo continue to have a very solid game number 2 here. And this is honestly, right, Creme's being shadowed by his top laner. I can understand this being caught out, and that's fine. A great flash keeps him safe. And then the Abduct as well. Again, they're trying to play front to back. This is exactly what we're looking for. But then Creme here, he's just stepped into a Yone Q3 and then eased forward onto the Sand Soldiers. Why has he gone that far forward? It's a complete mystery. And cost him his life.
I mean, that's the only explanation, right? Thinking that he had the ultimate to use and just
he just used it. Disastrous, honestly.
Short-term memory.
It's a rookie level blunder from that split 1 game. Like that was really not good enough.
And Creme had the keys to the kingdom in this game, right? Where he was the one who was ahead for top esports, still is a little bit in terms of gold, but no longer in that indomitable position where he can really 1v9 a fight. As Weibo, their wallets are starting to pay dividends here with the taking of this tier 2 turret in both mid and bot lane. It's going to expand that lead to about 4,000. And Creme is on the other side of the map looking for some sort of trade onto the enemy tier 3 turret in the top lane. Kanavi going to blast cone over, and it might be a bit of a base race here as Xiaohu is the only one here to defend and will not be able to win this one 1v2. The Baron buff no longer in the hands of Weibo, so they cannot use the accelerated resets, and it results in that tower going down.
Yes, they probably give the Dragon for this, right? 20 seconds on that, and Kanavi and Creme are on the complete wrong side of the map. You can even see that Xiaohu's trying to chase them down a little bit and make sure that they're not just insta-booking it for that bot side. But they break open the top side base from Weibo, which honestly, all told, when they're playing up against a Baron push, it's not the worst thing in the world. It means that they can push this wave even deeper, buy themselves even more time with this downed inhibitor in top side, and make sure that they are prepped and primed for probably the next fight around the Baron spawning in a couple of minutes' time. Like we say, this Drake likely to just be forfeit. And we're getting to the point now where actually, you know, we were looking at maybe it being 30, 35 minutes, the time that Weibo needed to have rounded this game out. And honestly, that may not have happened just yet.
So 3 straight Infernal Dragons picked up here for Weibo. And we're now in a situation where those start to mean a little bit, right? The extra adaptive force on both Light and Xiaohu. And we'll see if that results in, you know, the falling off potentially, resulting in maybe some more damage and some more one-shot potential onto some of the backline carries of top esports. Remember, Weibo, they need this win in order to keep themselves in a position where potentially lock up 6th place, a 5th place if things go really well for themselves, and giving them the most favorable matchup in that play-in stage. Now here we see Creme potentially caught out. Here comes the teleport in from the Xiaohu going to try to join the fight. Everybody's in onto the Azir, and that crowd control chain is massive, and it results in Creme dying once again alone.
Yeah, I mean, they burned the TP from Xiaohu, the ulti as well. It looks like for all the world that Tian might have won that 1v1, to be completely honest with you. Even still, taking out the Azir at this crucial stage, right, 50 seconds before the Baron spawns and 40 seconds on Creme's death timer. That is a really big win for them. That now cedes pretty much all of topside control that Top Esports would have looked to get back in the hands of Weibo. They should now be able to move up to that top side, start taking home and start taking home some of that vision and clearing out whatever it was that top laid down.
And that's another brutal mistake here for Creme. Again, a player that we've been really excited about, you know, joining a roster full of veterans like JackeyLove and 369 and, you know, Tian back in the day when he was on top last year, and being this new player that could potentially provide a big ceiling, you know, once he was on a top roster. And we've seen flashes from a player like this, right? Winning his first international title in Split 1. But it's little mistakes like this that continue to cause questions as to what top esports can look like at their peak form. As right now, Creme still in some trouble. He's going to have to redeem himself as the Baron's been started up by Weibo.
Okay, TP comes in, 4 items on the Lucian, Infinity Edge picked up, 100% crit chance for Light.
Oh, it's Chris to start the engage. They go straight on to Breathe. He has to flash out at half HP. And now Weibo, actually very quick to go on the retreat here. They do not want to get picked off.
But that's Subjugate down from Kanavi. That's a big tool that expended for the Trundle to try and be tanky. And you know, taking down this Trundle now becomes a lot easier.
And this Sejuani is very strong. Tian, unkillable almost, unfallible as Breathe comes back in with a teleport. But as you mentioned, Rude, Xiaohu's already out of the fight, so it's basically a 4v5 at this point. JackeyLove with a killer instinct forward, almost able to take down the Scion. And so Top Esports chunk out the HP bars. They do not get a single kill, but they do gain control around this river.
Look at top lane though, that inhibitor is now respawned, but it's under threat. Top pushed that wave so far that one super minion was able to stack up 2-3 waves of minions and potentially take down that inhibitor again. They have to give it up. Kanavi needs to run to this Baron. 369 needs to get here.
It might just be gone. Kanavi's going to try to flash over the wall. He's going to use the blast cone. Who's going to get it?
No way!
Steal! Kanavi just yeets it away from Weibo Gaming, and now they can look for the fight. Tian's very low, but they already get the kill on a Chris, and now Top Esports are on the run. Here comes the unstoppable onslaught. It's going to be blocked here by 369's Pathmaker, and they'll be able to get on out, but it's a 5v4 opened up for Weibo, despite the Baron being stolen by Kanavi.
A worthy trade for Top Esports. They sacrificed their top laner. They sacrificed the flash of 369, excuse me. They sacrificed their support. And yes, they lose that top inhibitor. But importantly, they have that Baron now to control how they play the map. Kanavi with a clutch steal. Again, Top Esports come up clutch when it matters. And now they need to play through this top wave, deny the soul, and they need to make sure that Jackie doesn't get picked here.
There's a death rush or a death area set up really nicely here by Tian. He's going to go and only land that Glacial Prison onto Kanavi, but the Trundle is down. Decimating Smash lands onto 2. Weibo Gaming might have found the engagement they need as Creme was not there in time, but JackeyLove still full HP. And there's the shuffle we were looking for from Creme. It takes down Era. Breathe dies as well, and Top Esports are going to win the fight with Baron in their hands.
A 5v5 once again. Top Esports come up trumps. Weibo, they commit so hard for Kanavi. They don't find JackeyLove, who just flashes out to safety and then immediately turns and delivers. 35 minutes into this game, Baron at their backs and 30-second death timers. Top Esports might want the series here and now.
It's going to be up to Tian. He's the strongest member in the game here for Weibo, but will it be enough against his old team? His job is to clear the wave, but he will be unsuccessful in the mission. That's an ace picked up for Top Esports, and with their backs against the wall in game 2, they somehow find a way to come back. It's off of JackeyLove. It's off of Creme, but it's most importantly off of Kanavi to steal that Baron, and it's going to be a 2-0 for Top Esports as they jump up to 14-2.
And out of nowhere, 2 minutes ago, we would have said Weibo are very likely going to take this game. They've got control around the top side. They've picked off Creme twice in a row. But it's that man, King Kanavi, once again stepping up when it mattered the most. Walking up to that blast cone, smacking it, hitting the Baron, taking out that smite and winning the fight on it. And then a big team fight, don't get me wrong, a massive 5v5, but one that felt forced because that Baron had gone down. Weibo, they overplay their hand just one time too many, and they don't quite make it work.
What a game that it was. I thought we were headed towards that game 3. Light got so strong on that Lucian. Tian seemingly unkillable on the Sejuanian. He was the lone survivor at the end of that last fight, but the rest of his team definitely was not as invulnerable as Top Esports. Just a tremendous sequence back to back to back. It started with, of course, that Baron being stolen away by Kanavi on the Trundle, who, remember, was in base as the Baron got started up. He was somehow able to run all the way into the pit, blast cone over, and at just the last second steal that one away. We haven't even gotten time to run a replay of that last fight because the chaos had just continued to unfurl from there. And then it was Weibo who found the initial play onto Kanavi. They took him down first, but then the carry showed up, and Creme, finally, after so many misplays, came in and saved the game for his team.
And that's why we have such high hopes for him, and that's why it's honestly saddening to see him get caught out on side lane so much, because his team fighting and his 5v5s are really, really getting to the point where we're thinking, one of the best team fighting mids that we have in the LPL, but just that one wave too much on a side wave, not quite checking your minimap, right? Like these things that you'd think can quite literally be written down to fundamental of looking at, have I got enough players forward on the map? Like, am I in line with the rest of my team? Can they support me? That he's not quite got the hang of just yet, but in these 5 versus 5s, like nobody's touching him. He's unmatched.
It was a brutal loss here for Weibo as they now drop to 6-11. That's their 6th loss in a row here for the team. Not where they want to be, and now it gets much more intense the rest of the way. I should say 6-10 for them in the standings. They have 2 series left, and it is against the 2 teams that they're basically tied with at this point in the position 6 through 8. It is either FPX or WE. Only one of those teams is going to get the chance to play a Nirvana team, and Weibo want to make sure it's them.
Yeah, I mean, with FPX and WE still like breathing down their throats as well, like those 2 series that they've got are the most important series for them of their split too, because they can either play up against, I mean, maybe TT as well is an argument that you can make, but Weibo, they've played the tough teams now. They need to play the teams that are in their league, let's say, and they need to win those. They need to break this dry streak that they're going on. Getting 2-0'd against Top, it's a forgivable loss, right? Realistically, in the scheme of things, if you're going to get 2-0'd by any team, Top Esports makes the most sense. If, however, you're playing against your FPX, your WE, you need to be taking series, not just games.
And that's an LPL gold graph if I've ever seen one, baby. As you take a look at the post-game summary, JackeyLove and Creme showing up in those clutch moments like we have consistently said. Remember, JackeyLove started off the game like 0-2, 0-3, was not in a good position through that early game. Light and Arrow really had his number, but he clutched up, and that is exactly what JackeyLove has done over these past couple weeks, and exactly what Top Esports have done over these past couple of weeks as they pick up their third straight 2-0 sweep here in the LPL Ascend group.
And that is, you know, speaking to the power that this Top Esports roster has, right?